Hello, hello, welcome back to Watch Us Play. I'm Eric Norris alongside Joey Davidson.
Hello.
This is the first episode of April.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's weird.
Friday the 13th, we're playing Fez, which is the Xbox Live Arcade downloadable title that just came out from Polytron.
Correct.
Phil Fish is behind that.
Yeah, I think it's a two-man studio, actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Joe here is actually playing the game, and he's kind of just starting it. Like, he's not that far in.
Yeah, you've obviously reviewed it, and...
I did. So basically Fez is kind of this unique kind of platformer type of game. It looks just like a 2D, old school, 8-bit title here.
Yeah, which you see the crazy part just now. That's...
Yes. So what you're doing is essentially just going around collecting these little cubes. You're trying to assemble 32 total cubes, and each cube is made up of 8 little cube bits.
Yes.
So you're going around this very elaborate world trying to collect 32 massive cubes by getting all these little bits to assemble them. And how you're doing that is going from one area to the next and using that little shifting perspective mechanic to basically reveal hidden paths or, secret areas, and revealing bits in the process which you have to platform on.
The rotation thing is a little bit like Echochrome. I think that was a PSP exclusive when it first started. Echochrome, basically, you would rotate the world in order to complete or create pathways, or to obscure pathways, so on and so forth. Yeah. That's kind of intact here. So if you're looking at this and you're like, man, that reminds me of Echochrome, I don't think you're far off. You get a cube. That's the whole thing, just getting cubes, man.
That literally is the game. That's the name of things. It's very classic. When I was playing it for review, instantly I thought Mario 64 and getting the stars. You're not doing specific tasks in order to unlock those like Mario 64, but it's that same kind of mentality where it's just about collecting stuff.
Right.
That's all you're doing pretty much.
Yeah.
We just hit a little warp gate, which brings you back to this kind of hubbish world. One of the things I don't think you'll actually see in the video, we didn't pull up the map.
I think we did pull up the map.
We pull up the map?
Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Because I feel like the map is... if we don't pull up the map, sorry. But if we do, then just consider this. It's freaking wild, man.
Yeah, it's rendered in 3 dimensions, and you can zoom in, out, and spin it around. It's actually one of the areas that I kind of criticized in my review.
Yeah.
Just because as you progress deeper and deeper into the game, I was kind of under the impression when first hearing this game that it was going to be kind of a straightforward zone-to-zone thing.
No.
But it's actually very much like Castlevania or Metroid, where you're going to do a lot of backtracking to find these cubes and open up new areas as you progress.
Right.
And the way the map is laid out is very, very confusing, especially once you open up more and more zones, backtracking.
It gets huge. The world just keeps growing and growing and growing. And one thing that I will kind of agree with is that there's this kind of sense of progression, but at the same point, the entire time I turned to Eric and I'm like, I don't know where the fuck to go after this. It tells you, oh, go back to that one door we saw a while ago.
And what that requires is basically a lot of flipping between the game world and the map. And just kind of fumbling your way backwards.
I feel like if I were a smarter man, maybe I'd know where to go, but... I mean,
having played it close to completion by the time I wrote my review, I was still having trouble getting around the game world.
Yeah.
I grasped this shifting mechanic pretty quickly.
Right.
Not to pat myself on the back, but it's trippy when you first do it, but then you quickly grasp how it works, and it becomes very fluid and second nature.
Right.
The map never reached that point.
Enjoy me ringing this bell for
yeah,
for 2 minutes maybe.
Yeah. There's supposedly there's a lot of secrets in this game. That a lot of people have not figured out yet. This bell is supposedly one of them that is still a mystery to the internet at large.
Well, I mean, the game came out today, but I think a lot of reviewers on Twitter and whatnot were kind of like, man, what the fuck is up with that bell?
Yeah, there's some weird shit, too, with owls. You'll find owl, statues and owls cruising around the world, and you can go up to them and interact, and then they fly off and appear somewhere else. It's kind of creepy, actually, because you don't know what their purpose is. They're just
The whole game has this kind of, so far anyway, for me, the whole game has this kind of, things are bigger than what we're showing you right now sense to it. It's you're here right now and you're playing, but there's a lot more to this than we're showing you.
I mean, I think that's indicative also with just the size of the map and the world.
This thing is, Eric mentioned this in his review, I believe, but as you're transitioning from world to world, when I first booted this game up, this is a smooth, snappy happening. It gets very laggy like this, it's tearing and jittery.
Yeah, there's a few technical flaws that I ran into with my game, and reading other people's reviews around the internet, some people didn't run into them.
Yeah.
Some people did. I ran into sound cutting out, a few game freezing glitches, an infinite death loop at one point with, like, there's black holes in this game. You won't see any in this video, but I ran into a death loop where it kept spawning me right in front of a black hole, and I kept getting sucked in. So I had to restart. And that, honestly, like, I gave the game a 7 out of 10. If it wasn't for, like, those technical things, I probably would have given it an 8 or 9. It was really only the map was the thing that, like, of the game when it's working 100% correctly, the map was the only thing that really bothered me.
Well, and I mean, that's kind of something about our review scale, I guess, since we're even talking about scores right now. I mean, a 7 out of 10 is still a fan-freaking-tastic score.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what we try to do when we review games is that, you know, a 5 is the average mediocre experience. You know, you wouldn't recommend it, but you wouldn't not recommend it. You know what I mean? With a 7 for a game like Fez, that's a fantastic score. And you know, my playthrough, maybe I don't run into any of those glitches, so I slide it an 8 or something, or an 8.5, and it's still
good. I mean, it's
score.
from our little, like, scoring guide thing, because I kind of looked at it for a while to figure out where I wanted to throw this game between, like, the 7-8 range, because we only do solid whole numbers. And 7s are listed as, like, pure fun, but the technical flaws or something like that will kind of suck you out of it.
And
that's pretty much was a good roundup to what I was dealing with.
Right.
So I think this is actually the last zone we show.
We're coming up on the end. We gotta get that cube in the center there.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cubes in this particular area that Joe's ventured to. Good luck to him later, backtracking his way.
I have no idea where I am. I had just no idea.
Bring up that map and try to figure it out, my friend.
Dat map.
So here you'll see somehow how Joe manipulates the perspective thing in order to get a hold of vines that aren't within reach if you're jumping. See, like, by him just switching it there, it looks like the vines are actually attached and he can climb on.
Yeah, very echo-chromy. Telling you.
It's a mind trip.
It is. The game is a fun, confusing thing. It's like it is confusing, but it's done in such a way that you're left enjoying it. Like, you're never like, this is stupid, but, like, so far it's been pleasing. But.
Yeah, and I mean, the visual style, as you can watch in this video, looks great. The music, which you're hearing in the background there, is fantastic.
Right.
It's got a lot of nods to 8-bit, like classic games. Even your little helper cube friend references, like, Zelda's Navi, you know, her annoying, hey, listen, type of things. Like, there's a lot of winks and nods thrown into, you know, classic gaming for gamers that have been around for decades.
Yeah. So this has been Watch Us Play. You can follow us on Twitter at CraveNGN or at Joey Davidson or at @regular_Eric.
Yes, and hit up craveonline.com for more gaming coverage. We'll catch you next time.